Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to react to Magic 8 Ball and Sugar, checking up on this whole dark money situation with people like Brian Tyler Cohen and David Pakman and other influencers. And you know what? I'm here for this because I've been begging for Kyle to say something like, yo, Kyle, this is right in your lane. These are people that you maybe considered allies, maybe at one point or another, but they can't be a part of what you're doing because they fucking sully what you're doing, right? Don't they give you like a bad name if you're next to them? So thus, you got to call them out if they do something fucked up. Right, Kyle? But instead, Krystal and Saagar have to fucking, I guess, do it. I'm waiting. Kyle, I'm still waiting, bro. Still waiting. But before I get started, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. All of it is very much appreciated. Also, check out the Discord link if you want to join up, talk some shit with people, listen to music, put down 1,000 clown emojis, whatever you want to do. Just no dick pics, no graphic violence, and you're chilling. Also, no titty pics either. Discord doesn't like those. Shout out to Edley. All right, let's get into this. All links description box. All right, so we're just going to watch this, bro. I have not seen any of this. I'm very curious what they say. I have a feeling what Sugar's going to say, but Magic 8 Ball is a mystery. Like a Magic 8 Ball. Get it? Anyone? Get it? Anyways, the title is, well, it's like Crystal Ball, Magic 8 Ball. Come on, guys. Saagar, Sugar. Come on. Don't get mad at me making fun of their names, okay? It's okay. Don't cry about it, right? But if you feel need to cry, you can do it in my comment section or in my Discord. Please cry away. Anyways, here's the title: Brian Tyler Cohen rages in response to Demfluencer dark money scandal. Let's do it. Oh wait, this might be way too loud. I need to turn my volume down. Holy fuck! I forgot I was just doing Owen Shorer's fucking video. All right, here we go.
Very interesting story here. I am a little bit obsessed with it. So Taylor Lorenz over at Wired Magazine really breaking some significant news here about an incubator program funded by a Dem-aligned dark money super PAC called the 1630 Fund. So let's put her reporting up on the screen, and I want to break down very specifically what she reports out in this piece. So her headline here is, a dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content.
Now, once again, my main point is, yo, no one's talking about the money being secret. Like, that's a big deal, especially with the quote-unquote progressives, right? It's part of your brand name, almost. Hey, we keep money out of politics, right? So there's no way a quote-unquote progressive, like David Pakman claims to be, could be doing this, right? I want to see if they hit those notes, but here we go.
So the TLDR here is that this incubator named Chorus was set up by Brian Tyler Cohen, who you guys probably know is a big like resistance creator on YouTube, giant channel, 4 million subscribers, etc. And a guy who used to be an aide for John Yarmouth, who was a congressman from Kentucky. So they set up this thing, and the way they fund it is by taking money from this billionaire-backed dark money super PAC called the 1630 Fund. That fund has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to back Democratic candidates and causes. It's very influential. It's very well known. You can read a bunch of reporting about it. But because it is a dark money group, their donors are kept a secret, okay? So 90 plus Democratic Party aligned influencers were selected for this program. They're paid anywhere from $250 a month, which like y'all are really selling out for the cheap if you're on that plan, but we'll get back to that, all the way up to $8,000 a month. It has everybody from small creators I certainly had never heard of. Granted, I'm not on TikTok that much, so I'm not trying to like besmirch the level of their influence, but all the way up to people like David Pakman, who has a multi-million sub channel, who is already been quite successful and has been around for longer actually than we have. David Pakman's been in this game for a long time, so it's like everybody from the small and the brand new, all the way up to the David Pakmans of the world.
Pakman's been full of shit for a long time as well. I mean transparently. Like you can tell just by hearing like 5 minutes of the guy. You're like, oh, this guy's full of shit, isn't he? He's full of shit. Fake sensitive voice ass, full of shit ass motherfucker, isn't he? Sorry, that's just my own little emotions coming out. Forgive me. All right, let's keep going. So far, so good, Krystal. Magic 8-Ball.
Well,
So far, so good.
she's provided
Oh, you're breaking up, my man.
a lot more information than the last time.
Can you hear me? You're auto-tuning, man.
Hello?
Good. Try again.
Yeah.
Try again.
Still?
No, try again. No, it sounds all right now. Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I am. Okay. She's bringing in a lot more information than you knew the last time we heard this story.
Oh my god. You're still breaking up, but I think I got what you're saying. Where she's bringing up a lot more information than was in the original story, at least when I was first going over it. Now, granted, I didn't go through the entire article, but yeah. I see it when I see these two there, and I see 40 minutes, and I see it's about this one topic. I expect a lot of information, so thus this is worth it, I think. And yeah, I knew I liked Krystal more than Kyle. I knew it. Do your thing, Magic 8-Ball. Here we go.
So specifically, Taylor was able to talk to people who were approached about participating in this program, some of whom were put off by the terms of the contract and said, this is not something that I can be a part of. She was given access to some of the group chats that were flying around between some of the people who did end up in the cohort, who were also expressing concerns about some of the terms of the contract. And she also apparently was able to get her hands on the contract themselves. And so here's specifically what the contracts that it says were viewed by Wired, what they indicated in terms of restrictions on the way these individuals can operate. So according to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. Creators also have to loop Chorus in on any independently organized engagement with government officials or political leaders. So one of the creators who was approached about participating in Chorus said to Taylor, she said, quote, if I want to work with another politician, I have to fully collaborate with Chorus. If I get Zora on and he wants to do an interview with me, I don't want to give that to them. So that was one of the concerns. Also, it says creators in the program are not allowed to use any funds or resources that they receive as part of the program to make content that supports or opposes any political candidate or campaign without express authorization from Chorus in advance and in writing per the contract. So if they want to support a candidate, Graham Plattner, let's say in Maine, they have to get approval from Chorus before they can say anything supportive of any sort of candidate or campaign. In addition, the contracts reviewed by Wired prohibit standard partnership disclosures, declaring that creators will not publicize their relationship with Chorus or tell others that they're members of the program, quote, without Chorus's prior express consent. A screenshot from a slideshow was shared with Wired following this article's publication by Graham Wilson, a lawyer working with Chorus, that offers several talking points if a member of the cohort wanted to discuss Chorus publicly. So they're expressly saying, you can't talk about being in this program and certainly can't disclose the dark money funding of this program. This
is why you need newsy people. Say, like, I'm a viber, I'm a content creator. I talk shit. You need the newsy people too. Not saying Krystal and Saagar are like the god tier of news. I'm just saying they do all the newsy stuff, info. I'm like, my thing, what I do is like, simple question, very simple question, dumb guy logic. How come you're not answering the dumbest question that should be asked of all of you? How come no one's answering that? So, but you need your newsy people, your info factoid based people. You need that shit too. But all right, here we go.
And they also forbid creators from disclosing the identity of any funder and give Chorus the ability to force creators to remove or correct content based solely on the organization's discretion if that content was made at a Chorus organized event. One other piece that I thought was really noteworthy, Saagar, is it also says you are not allowed to criticize any of the other influencers who are part of the Chorus program.
Whoa.
So for example,
whoa, I did not hear that part. You're not allowed to criticize other people. Like, what the fuck are we doing? If that's true, what's the point then? What's the point of politics? What is the point? I thought we were supposed to be like a bunch of honest people that
That's
have different
echo
opinions,
chamber
and we fucking discuss the opinions with each other. Go ahead, Dubster. Like, fuck.
shit. It's echo chamber stuff.
Yeah, okay. The Brian Tyler Cohen guy said, "Oh, we don't tell them what to say, but if you select people, right, and based on what they've said already, you're like, okay, these guys will they'll follow the party line or be somewhere within the box of it. But what if they want to call out one another about topics? That's not only is that fucking like important, it's necessary. How else do you get through? Like, how else do you move things forward? Unless you can criticize them. What the fuck? Or maybe even weed out someone who's like full of shit because they're doing some like weird critique that doesn't make any sense or isn't like, isn't clean at all. It's just like bullshit to try to knock someone down. What the fuck? More discussion is always better. What the fuck? God damn it, you newsy people. 8-Ball and Sugar. Thank you for your work. Here we go.
Size any of the other influencers who are part of the Chorus program.
That's crazy.
So, for example, if you have a beef over David Pakman either not saying anything about Gaza or in the early days of the genocide, he was actively defending Israel. If you have a problem with that and you're an influencer in this cohort and you want to talk about it, you are banned from doing that. So you have a combination of a lot of restrictions on the way that you operate, having to run things through this Chorus program. You have the forced secrecy around it, that you're not allowed to disclose Chorus, and you're certainly not allowed to disclose the funding source of Chorus. And then you also, on top of that, have these requirements that they check in, that they go to these daily messaging meetings to, get the view of Chorus. And we're going to show you some of the responses from the creators themselves about the revelation that they're part of this program. And, they actually affirm that, yes, much of this is in fact true. They show relevant parts of the contract and then, give reasons why it's not such a big deal and it's not really a problem. But they actually confirm Taylor's reporting here. So this seems pretty rock solid at this point.
Well, okay, so let's put that aside. I think the question is about why is this important? I think it's important not only for the context of what you laid out about specific issues, but it is an incentive and media ecosystem, which is so much worse than allegedly what the Dem and Republican alternative medias were trying to go after. Like, look, we can say a lot of bad things about Jake Tapper, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. They do not get direct checks cut to them that specifically say you can't criticize X, Y, and Z. They are actually less controlled in this particular way. And so that's what I think I wanted to cover the story early, and I want people to grapple with that, is that in this new ecosystem, just like in the original days of the printing press, it's gone wild. The norms don't exist. Everybody is a creator and a business person. They have not had well-established norms to try and create a firewall, a separation. Probably the most important is nobody is thinking about the downstream consequences of that. Because originally you're like, oh, a couple $1,000 a month, great. I can pay my bills, I can do this. I don't have to have a second job and all that. But you don't ask what comes next. And, two people who've been in this industry now for a long time and experienced much of the downside of what that type of stuff looked like. Now, to be clear, I've never taken a single dollar from a Republican group or any of that type of stuff in the same way, which, again, I don't really know how you ever thought it was cool. Because even...
All right, I'm going to stop him there. I wonder, once again, it'll look crazy if it's some random person, someone we don't know of, getting that $8,000 a month versus, or getting, some unknown person getting $250 a month, and then you have someone like David Pakman getting $8,000 a month. Like, see how that doesn't make sense? If you're trying to help someone like not have to work anymore so they can focus on content creation, you don't give David Pakman a fucking cent, right? It's like, obviously, he's a volunteer at that point. He's there to do workshops and help out these other content creators, right? That would have to be the case. I wonder if they have like direct, like, okay, here's who got paid what type of shit. If the bigger people got paid more money, then it's clearly not about helping someone doing workshops and mentoring and all that shit. It's just another way for the weirdest amongst us to get fucking paid to do some grimy ass shit. That's what that looks like to me. But, you know, all right, I'll let Sugar finish. Here we go.
When I was absolutely broke, I never would have signed some sort of contract like that. But the point remains that I think most of them didn't think about it. And now they're retreating to their corners because for them, they have to defend it at this point. But really, you are either controlled, quasi-controlled, or at the very least, you are not truly free to say what you want. Now, the mainstream is controlled in a separate way, right? As in, Fox News guys can't criticize each other. They also know that if they cover X, Y, or Z, that's not going to look so nice to Rupert Murdoch or to Lachlan, who are, you know, rabidly pro-Israel and pro-Ukraine. So there's all these separate, you know, issues and incentive structures that come with them. So don't get me wrong, that obviously exists with the mainstream media, and I still hate them for a variety of reasons. But this is really, really bad. And it is bad because I think that the Democrats in particular, I know that there are a lot of Dems, they're energized, they're ready. You know, we're going to talk about Trump health. Everybody wants to be online, having fun, and resisting. But you're being part of a machine, and that machine is being controlled for very specific purposes and ends, which you may not be aware of. That's what I think is very important.
Right.
That is a very good point, which is just the old adage, you know, check yourself before you wreck yourself. That is a real thing. People that go in, I'm like, I think I said this before, of people like, yo, be like, recognize who you are as a person before you start leaping into these fucking things, because there could be snakes hiding around any fucking corner. And if you watch any of the content on this channel, and I try to keep up on all the snakes that I think are out there, there's a lot out there, basically. There's a lot. So, and it's like, I mean, you're doing it for this dog shit party in the first place. It's kind of crazy to me, right? You're trying to, like, make Joe Biden cool now or some shit like that. Like, that's not, like, come on, guys. Come on, that's not fucking going anywhere. Or trying to, whatever. Maybe you boost up an AOC or a Bernie Sanders type or a Zoran type of person, but at the same time, the party's trying to influence them to be less of the thing that you think you're supporting. What makes you think they wouldn't do that with you if you get 1 million fucking followers or 2 million followers through this little program here? What makes you think they don't send people near you, not in like an attack way, but in a influence you to maybe say certain things or think a certain way? And if you're vulnerable, well, guess what? The snake will bite you anyways, bro. Why these fools run from me? Just kidding. All right, here we go.
And it would be one thing if this was disclosed.
Yeah, that's right.
But
That's exactly
what they
saying.
say is, oh, well, here are some videos where people did talk about being in Chorus, and here's the Chorus website, and it lists some of the creators who were participating in the program. So there was some disclosure.
Nah.
Was there disclosure around a dark money super PAC funding this? No, there was not. And there's, you know, so there's a reason why Taylor had to do an investigative journalism piece in order to reveal the details of this program. It expressly prohibits them in the contract from disclosing their funders, specifically from disclosing their participation in the program. And, you know, in terms of like the ethics of all of this, that is almost the biggest red line here, because listen,
Thank you.
It's very complicated, all of the different business structures within quote unquote independent media, right? Most places are different from us. Most of them will do ad reads, which means they're directly talking to advertisers. It's actually much more direct relationship than, like, for example, when I was at MSNBC, there was a firewall between the host and the, you know, people who were selling ads. You had no idea what was on during the commercial break. That wasn't your bit, you know, you were not paying attention to that. That had no bearing on your, like, day to day. So, you know, there's that, but at least that's up front. Everybody knows I'm paid to read this ad for Casper mattresses or whatever the heck it is, you know, Zins or whatever thing that they're selling. So that's up front.
Nicotine
and
patches?
You know, frankly, those corporate interests are going to only collide with your coverage in sort of certain specific instances. Whereas if you are backed by this kind of group where you're going to daily messaging check-ins, you're having to run by them, you're supposed to run by them, every government official that you interview, and you have other restrictions on your content, and they have a specific, they mention in one of these contracts that actually in the response video, one of the members of the cohort put up a part of the contract, and it referred to Chorus's policy platform. So, like, what is that? And
Right.
are you having to buy into a certain set of policies? I'm going to guarantee you that based on the lack of coverage of Gaza by Brian Tyler Cohen, and sometimes at times the incredibly terrible coverage of David Pakman, two of the biggest creators that are associated with this, I'm going to bet that, the fact that, for example, Gaza has been officially deemed a genocide by all of the world's genocide scholars, I'm going to bet that's not part of the policy platform. I'm going to bet that's not part of the daily messaging guidance. And I want to be clear because
Yeah. The most blatant, once again, I'm a big fan of IQ tests. I'm not saying I want bad things to happen, obviously, but bad things do happen. And to see people's reactions towards them is one of the big standards for me. And it's how they actually talk about it too, right? If they're unquestionably just picking some sort of side, like a team almost, like that should always be worrying to me. And when you have two people, David Pakman, Brian Tyler Cohen, I looked over their channels. There's not much content on those things, right? It's more so like maybe David Pakman doing PR for Israel, essentially, whether he's paid by them or not. It essentially amounts to that. Or Cohen, where he's not covering any of it, he's just not. Maybe there's one video I found where he was talking to an Obama advisor or something like that, or a speechwriter. Yeah, that's not good enough for considering what the situation is. And that thing is a blatant IQ test. If you're not covering that fucking topic and you claim to be some sort of fighter against corruption, I don't believe you at that point. I say you're full of shit at that point. Unless somehow, magically, the biggest story in the world, you found no time to cover it. But yet he's covering, Donald Trump having weird discolorations on his hand. Or, hey, is Trump dead? Oh, look, here's Trump golfing. Right? When you see content like that, but you're not covering, once again, there's human suffering all over the world. But this one is caught all on camera. It's all over the place on camera. Witness things, politicians, world leaders from all these different countries. Domestically, with the college kids getting fucking kicked out of the country for protesting what Israel's doing. The massive amounts of propaganda. How are you not covering this? And like I said before, the killer part of it is that, these guys don't like Trump, obviously, right? Let's be real. 3 out of 4 videos they do, it's all Trump. I went through their fucking video feed. It's Trump, Trump, Trump all fucking day and night. And the story that makes him look the worst is the one they're not covering. Make that make sense. So, yeah, these two, the head of any type of organization, or be somewhere near the top, or even the head of any type of organization, about talking to influencers and youngsters and trying to get them to go in a certain direction. Get the fuck out of here. They missed the mark by miles. By light years. That is partial. That's part of the most disturbing aspect of all this. You know what? I'm going to say it. I don't say stuff like this, but on this particular video so far, 11 minutes in, I'm like, thank God someone's fucking finally saying this shit out loud. Thank God. Yo, Kyle, where you at, bro? Yo, Kyle. Yo, what's up, man? Hey, I'm sure there's a lot of breaking points and secular talk crossover, I'm sure, of audience members, but maybe it's not everyone. What are you going to do, Kyle? The point isn't for numbers and views. The point is something wrong is happening. I need to call it out. And if someone you know very closely is talking about this, I would assume you hear about it too. And if you hear about it, why the fuck aren't you talking about it yet? Are you waiting? Maybe he's being patient. Maybe he's doing more research. That's all fair and fine. But if you're not going to talk about it at all, holy fuck, I'm wrecked. Shout out to Captain Obvious. He's like, I got no faith in Kyle. But I leave room, man. I leave the room with possibility. Maybe Kyle goes into it. But maybe he doesn't, too. In which case, I have to lambast him for it, bro. It is what it is. Pause for that. But anyways, let's keep it going. I know no one wants to hear fucking Jordan talk. Jesus Christ. Shut up, Jordan. Here we go.
Some of the way this has been portrayed, especially in the rebuttals, has been very caricaturish. We're not saying that they're being told, you're going to do a video on this, and if you don't, you're kicked out of the program. And here's your talking points, and you're going to say these freaking talking points, or you're out. It doesn't work like that. It works through...
By the way, that was a great point right there. That was the Tyler Cohen video, where he's like, we're not telling them to do this, and David Pakman as well. We're not telling them... No one's being told to do this. And it's like, no, you're missing the fucking point. You're missing the point by a lot. And neither one of them addressed some of the things I was talking about, which is a lot with the money, as in, like, why does this need to be, like, a secret thing like that? And some of the things that Kyle and Krystal and Saagar are saying. Magic 8 Ball and Sugar are saying. All right, here we go.
So you're going to say these freaking talking points or you're out. It doesn't work
Just
like
say fuck,
that.
Krystal.
It works
Jesus
through
Christ.
several mechanisms. First of all, the choice of who participates. I guarantee you many of these people, they genuinely, their authentic view is that the Democratic Party is like, vote blue no matter who. They are vastly superior. The focus should all be on Trump. Like, for many, if not all of them, that is their genuine view. So number one is the choice of who you even include in the cohort. But then there's all these sort of like human pressures and incentives. You see who's in the in-group with you. You see the sort of topics that are being pushed. You know where the sensitivities are. And so if you're covering, let's say, the Gaza genocide versus another topic that is also very important that isn't going to create some sort of discomfort with the, with the program that you're in, that you're receiving monthly cash from, maybe you're going to choose the one that's not going to be uncomfortable for the group, not going to be uncomfortable for your future potential prospects of staying in this program. And as you get down the line, if these influencers become financially dependent on getting this monthly stipend, then you have a lot of control over them. So that's the way these things work. It's far more subtle than just like you're getting your talking points and you're going to stick to them and you're not going to do videos on this and you are going to do videos on that. It happens in a much more subtle way. And I saw it, I've told this story
almost
before,
like InfoWars,
just to give an example from my own personal life and why, like, the lessons we've had to learn through our careers and how we came to the business model that we have. When I was at MSNBC, this was back in 2015 before Hillary, actually I think it was 2014, before Hillary officially got in the race for president. I did a monologue that was like, don't run. Please don't run, because you are not the person for the moment. I talked about her, her speeches to banks. I, said this is not the populist champion we need. It was very critical at a time when nobody on the Democratic side, nobody on MSNBC was being critical of Hillary. They let me do it, but after the fact, I was informed that any future commentary I did on Hillary Clinton had to be run by the president of the network. Okay, that is not a normal thing. Message was sent to me that this was not appreciated, and in the future, I needed to make sure I run it up the flagpole. So can I say for certain that that didn't impact my coverage going forward? That didn't make it so that if I was weighing two different monologue topics, I was like, well, I could do this one on Hillary again, or I could do this other topic, that I didn't take the easy way out and say, well, they're both important. So let me do this one so I don't have to actually get all of my words approved by the president of the network and piss off everybody involved this day. That's the way these things work, through these sort of subtle influences and pressures that every human is subject to. And so I think a lot of these individuals, they feel like, well, we're not corrupt. We genuinely believe in the Democratic Party. And, we got to fight fire with fire. We got to get in there and we got to fight against Trump. And we got to build up this creator ecosystem. Like, I think that's the way they're thinking about it, without realizing the subtle way that your coverage can be shaped and influenced the minute that you start taking cash. And especially when you have these sorts of very specific restrictions on the way you're supposed to go about your content creation, and you're required to go to a daily messaging check-in every single day. Of course, that's going to impact the way that you approach things, not because you're like inherently corrupt, because you're a human being, and we are all subject to those sorts of incentives and pressures, whether we even realize it or not.
I will just...
Well said, and, well, I'm not subject to that. I'll be honest with you. I'm just be blatantly honest with you. I'm not. I'm built different. But actually, I wanted to tie this actually to the Owen Schroyer story, because we were just listening to that stuff. It ended up just being kind of a drama thing, but at the core of it, though, or the portion that I made the video on last night, where, you know, Alex is like, hey, man, why are you being so pessimistic? Why are you being so negative? Those are like those small little pressures. Maybe it's not money necessarily, but it's kind of a pressure for sure. And I'm sorry, I view it that way, especially the way I view Alex Jones and his, like, his intentions behind things. I view him as very sus, personally. I view him as very, very, very sus. So thus, I wouldn't be surprised if he's, applying certain kind of social pressures on Owen to get him to be more favorable towards Donald Trump. And then Owen said himself, he actually acted on it, right? He said he was being negative about Trump. He's like, all right, I'm going to step back, take a break, come back, and, I can be more positive now. And it's like, why? How the fuck listen to that? Well, maybe Owen was susceptible to the social pressures of Alex Jones to be more positive towards Donald Trump. Meanwhile, the guy's doing horrible shit around the world. And I mean, like, devil worshipping level type shit around the fucking world. No, that's not hyperbole at all either. So yeah, little pressures can move people in directions if they're not built already, right? If you're a fucking savage, you built yourself, you know who you are, and then you walk into a scenario, you're fucking fine. You're good. But in this situation, you have young people, right? These Democratic influencers and all that shit. They're probably young people that they're fucking trying to prey off of in a way. And then you have someone like Owen Schroyer who grew up as basically like an apprentice, right? In fact, Alex might be somewhat of like a father figure for him. So thus, you could be guys like that in that situation that view things that way could be easily fucking manipulated to move in a direction. I'm just saying. And there's also even if you know it, right? Maybe Krystal's situation or even Owen's situation. Maybe they know that they're trying to be someone's trying to influence them in a direction. Maybe they realize that. But they're like, fuck, I don't want the headache. I'll just go through with it anyways. And thus, the goal happened anyways for the creepers, right? Which was to get you to take your show and change your messaging around for the sake of whatever big daddy or big mommy's running the fucking organization. So that's a great point by Krystal. It really is. All right, let's keep going. Here we go.
Quote the great Noam Chomsky, quote, the smart way to keep people passive and obedient is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion, but allow very lively debate within that spectrum, even encourage the more critical and dissident views. That gives people the sense that there's free thinking going on, while all the time the presuppositions of the system are reinforced by the limits put upon the range of the debate. And then similarly, when he was asked in that famous BBC interview about whether people self-censor, he says, I don't say you're self-censoring. I'm sure you believe everything that you're saying. But what I'm saying is if you believe something different, you wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting. Mm-hmm. That's the question around court. So like you said, it's not that these people...
And just so people know, that's from Manufacturing Consent, the documentary, I believe. Or maybe it was an interview about the documentary. Either way, it's revolving around manufacturing consent. But here we go.
You wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting. Mm-hmm. That's the question around court. So like you said, it's not that these people are, and let's even think about the whole Gaza thing. Do you think they're doing it because they believe it? I don't. I don't know Dave. I mean, I've talked to David one time. I have no hate for the guy. Brian, we interviewed him here. He seems nice. I don't think that they are actively covering anything up. You know what it is. It's division for Democrats, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. They're like, well, we can't divide the Democratic Party. And so...
Well, Pakman...
Sorry, Sugar. I gotta disagree on that one, man. I mean, it smells too nefarious to me. It does. So, when you hear about them getting meetings with Kamala Harris or, White House people and all this shit, then you see what the White House actually did, Biden's White House actually did in regards to Gaza. If you're doing shit like that, what the Biden administration was doing, I would assume you want to keep that quiet. Now, if you're telling me Cohen and Pakman are all right, we have no idea what's going on with that story, we're just going to leave it alone. Nah, which means they knew what was happening, which almost begs the moral call, doesn't it? You'd be like, yo, I can't sit here and just be quiet about this thing. after like looking into it. So I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not giving them leeway. I'm just not. I don't think it's about it's something worse to me, but here we go.
Right? That's it. They're like, well, we can't divide the Democratic Party. And so,
well, Pakman,
okay,
at the beginning of the genocide, actively backed up Israel.
Fine, but BTC, all right?
Yeah.
I think for him, he's like, I don't want to cause problems for Alyssa Slotkin. I don't want to cause problems for Gavin Newsom. We need to train 100% of our fire on the right. By the way, the right does this all the time too, right? Although it's more complicated. More recently, they are willing to go after people on the issues that they care about, immigration in particular. I know Thomas Massey, right? They'll go single him out, or at least some people have. I'm trying to think more establishment, Mitch McConnell and others. They'll get their fire whenever they, quote, go against the base. And Republican creators generally are more likely to be able to do that. The Democrats, though, they all seem to have internalized this thing about Kamala, where protesters and people who spoke out against Kamala and Biden were nothing but trouble, and that's the reason that she lost. Folks, it's just not true.
Yeah.
And it's like that is that what they don't get is that, you know, iron sharpens iron. Going through a deeply competitive, brutal primary does not weaken the candidate. It actually makes them stronger. It means that you definitively won the debate. Kamala never won shit, literally, from the primary to her coronation at the Democratic Party. Those Gaza people, by the way, get mad at them all you want. They voted in good faith for Donald Trump or Jill Stein in the state of Michigan, and they were the exact margin of victory. Now, maybe it wouldn't have mattered in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, all these other. I know for a fact, 100% it mattered in the state of Michigan. So that's on you. That's not on anybody else. That's not on some protester or anybody else. And that's where their theory of politics is just dead wrong. I mean, think about 2016 for Trump. It was savage, and he won. And not only that, he won the election. Well, Obama, Hillary, that was true. I mean, the juggernauts went at each other. Obama got a blowout victory. Like,
and he was definitely.
Now, I think Saagar's wrong about the. Sorry, Sugar's wrong about this. As far as like the Democratic Party scrambling, oh man, I don't know what to do. Let's do this strategy, see if it works. And oh fuck, we're just dumb. I don't think so. I think they know exactly why there's bounds and limits to what they are allowed to say out loud, right? If they say certain things on the campaign trail that would outflank Donald Trump on whatever issue, they know it's a promise they could not deliver at all. And they'd be fucking their party because it seems like at least Democratic voters like pay a tiny bit more attention to their candidates, more so than just going off of vibes, right? I mean, that can happen. Like you see the Obama thing, but he needed to back that up with like words. He really, like, during his campaign, even though they weren't the greatest words ever, but they wanted to believe in those words. They were dying to. So they went with them. Versus, like, Trump, where it's, like, very much more so, like, emotional voters. Like, oh, my God, he's going to save the fucking free world, man. He's gonna end wars. He's going to do this. Where there's no evidence for it at all. Not even a little bit. And it is what it is. I don't think it's them being dumb. I think it's them being calculated. Is basically what I'm saying to Saagar. They know they can't go to certain areas because it will expose themselves, right? Because Trump might just say it, right? If Trump's debating one of these fools, and Kamala's like, "Well, we need to end the Ukraine and Russia war." It's like, you started it, though. You started it. Right? He'll just say it. But these fools don't. In rebuttals, they don't say anything about Trump that would be like, yo, why aren't you breaking apart his fucking war machine style fucking foreign policy? Why are you not smashing that to pieces? They never do it. It's incredible. Some of the few people I've heard do that in recent years, it's like, I guess, Tulsi Gabbard. I guess. You know, as like someone running for president, there's other people too saying things like, you know, like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Thomas Massey, Ro Khanna, some people like that, right, are saying things about Trump's foreign policy where it's like, yo, your shit is like terrible, and you're spending too much money. But like the Democratic Party doesn't actually go after fucking issues, seemingly. It's almost like there is no fucking wars happening when these guys are either president or running for president. It's almost like it doesn't exist. We need to focus on Meals on Wheels, which is what Kyle asked for, right? Fucking dummy. Take a fucking page from your wife, bro. Seriously. Not that she's so great. I'm just saying, like, just disappointing to see Kyle do shit like, bro. Meals on Wheels. Here's why the Democrats are better. Meals on Wheels. Really? Really? While they're blowing people up? Meals on fucking wheels, Kyle? Holy Christ. And like Kyle should be honest to God, be doing an autopsy. Like, yo, why can't they say these things? Why can't they say these things about foreign policy? How come they can just never do that? It's because they're in favor of it too, and they don't want anyone to know about it. But Trump's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll just say it, but lie. Yeah, why are we bombing Yemen? Gets in office, bombs Yemen. Right? It's like he doesn't give a fuck. He'll just lie. But these Democrats, maybe they're worried about being seen as liars, so they just keep foreign policy quiet, seemingly. Unless they're talking about the threat of Iran, obviously, right? Kamala Harris. All right, here we go. It's just this. What's his? Sorry, I'm going to keep going now. What's this guy's name? FB Salinger or some shit like that? Or FB. Whatever the fuck his name is. All right, this fucking content creator, black dude with the dreads and shit. And he's like, let me explain how Kamala lost. They're like, or sorry, there's nothing that could be said by Kamala because she's black and a woman. So there's nothing she could say to help her win the election. And I'm like, yes, there is. She could have said 10 bajillion things. Just the problem is she would have to disown Joe Biden. She just served as vice president under Joe fucking Biden and his horrendous foreign policy. All she'd do is smash that to pieces amongst other policies, and she'd win easily. Because we have one term. Well, maybe not easily, but it'd be a lot closer. Because, let's be real, a lot of MAGA people were they're full-blown brainwashed. They were brainwashed. Mass brainwashing, and it worked somehow. Where he'd bomb in his first administration, bomb, like, all over the place, bomb places. Give weapons to people that they can bomb other places as well. And then, once he runs again, he's like, well, I'm against war. Let's end wars. Let's make peace. Let's make deals. And they fell for it. They were brainwashed. It is what it is. But if you said enough to point out Donald Trump's foreign policy next to your future foreign policy, which you would think is much better, right? Because you'd have to dismantle the Joe Biden thing. Like, you could have won. You could have siphoned a shit ton of MAGA voters. Seriously. If you had Donald Trump on stage stumbling with words like, I did bomb them, but, where he has just no way out of it. Yeah, you could have won. But then again, these guys are not actually looking to stop any idea of real corruption. They don't care to do that. That's why they that's why they lost. The only reason they're going to win in the future is because of how bad Trump is right now. It's the only way they're going to fucking win. If they just keep making it worse and worse. And like, see, look, we look good now. Now Kamala Harris looks like a fucking saint because of what Trump's doing now. But they did that with Obama. Obama looked like a saint because of what? What George W. Bush was doing. And then in comparison to John McCain and Mitt Romney's fucking policies. I mean, guys, that's kindergarten fucking psychology. That is good cop, bad cop. Basic ass shit. And masses fall for it somehow. Sorry for the rant, but that's like it's frustrating. But then again, like I'm gonna say this is the last thing I say. Pay attention to all your little favorite content creators, any one of them, people you like, people you dislike. Pay attention to them. Then wait for election season and see what happens. I'm not guaranteeing everyone's gonna all of a sudden change their principles around and the way they talk around, but pay attention and see if things start changing, if narratives start changing. And like, hey, Kyle, didn't you talk about this story? Sorry to bring up Kyle. Anyone, right? Like, hey, guy, weren't you talking about this topic over here? Like, you really cared about it, but now it just disappeared from your whole fucking platform because it's election season. What happened? Seriously. Keep a keen memory of what you're seeing from people. Because right now, we're in the lull time right now. There's a plenty of IQ tests happening right now, for sure. But wait for election season and see if these guys are saying the same shit they were saying that they're saying right now. I'll hold you to it. All right, let's continue. Sorry for the rant. Here we go.
Did they name who is behind this yet, or did they not know that?
Well,
this whole foundation that's given all the money, that's interlinked with Democrats as well, not just the media people on YouTube.
Well, they call them anonymous billionaires, as far as like the 1630 group. That's the funder. That's the person. That's the people with the money, injecting money into Chorus, and then Chorus gives money out to the content creators. All right.
Okay, I'll just call it George Soros until proven otherwise.
Okay. Maybe. Allegedly, it's a group of billionaires, but I don't know. I can't say it now. But all right, let's keep going. Here we go.
If you watch him in the beginning of those debates to the end, he was strengthened so much by it.
Yes.
But even put aside like the Gaza piece and all of that, probably the worst mistake that Democrats made, political tactical mistake, was circling the wagons around Biden
100%.
and keeping out any sort of actual primary process and dissent, where his weakness could have been exposed earlier. You could have ended up with a much stronger candidate who actually had won a democratic process and had some sort of democratic mandate behind them. By circling the wagons and keeping all the dissent out, they led themselves down this disastrous path where then you have the debate, and we all know the rest of, how that history unfolds.
And yeah, there was, I believe, background documents or something where, or maybe like memos where people were told, hey, Kamala, don't go after Biden. Leave him alone. Keep his legacy intact. Don't knock it down. Which is just a spell for you're going to lose, basically. Unless you're Kyle Kalinske and didn't realize that. All right, here we go.
So, I think the lesson that Democrats should just shut their mouths and not ever criticize anything that any Democrat has ever done. I think that lesson has been one of the single most devastating ideas for the Democratic Party. If you just care about Democrats winning, I think that has been an utter and complete disaster.
Yes, it has. Sorry to pause again, but I have to say, yes, it has. And if you remember Queen of Warmongers, remember that shit that Tulsi tweeted out? That was after someone went after Tulsi. Instead of once again, you don't have to be mean about it, but call everyone out around you. Seriously. Call everyone out, and you waltz into the fucking White House, essentially. They will make memes about it. You'll be clipped 10 million different fucking times. People will start following you, hang on to every word you fucking say. Trump did it in his first fucking run. He scolded everyone around him. He scolded all of them. And he fucking wrecked their shit and won the presidency. Democrats, though, when you have people that are supposed to be like the populist person, like Bernie Sanders, yeah, Bernie, you don't have to be mean. Just say the truth about what the people around you are doing. In detail. Not, the Democratic Party, has some problems. Don't say, go over the fucking problems so people realize that you're different from them. You fucking coward, bro. But he was too pussy to do it. He'd rather serve the fucking party and make sure a Democrat won over the most dangerous president of our lifetimes. Fucking dummy. You idiot. I'm glad it paid off for you, Bernie. Look where you're at now. Here we go.
On the piece around the future of the Democratic Party, too, for me, there's a battle right now. And this is why I think that even though, it's whatever, it's one dark money group. Let's all be really clear. There's tons of dark money flowing through independent media. There's tons on the right. Okay, this is not something that's unique. By the way, a lot of these creators spoke out against the tenant media scandal when that happened, which we did too, by the way, because it was gross and it was corrupt. But, they can't see the problem when it is on their side. But to me, there's a battle for the future of the Democratic Party right now. And I don't want to be overly simplistic about it, but it really is a battle between, is this going to be a party that's run by billionaires or run by the grassroots? Is that, is it going to be Zoran or is it going to be Kamala Harris? Is it going to be Gavin Newsom or is it going to be someone like a grand planner who has a true grassroots behind him? That's the battle of the Democratic Party right now. And we saw through the Kamala Harris campaign, when she started relying on, the Mark Cubans of the world and this billionaire-backed and approved strategy, that's when she truly that's when she truly destroyed her campaign and made it impossible to win. So I also see this as a real struggle, because if you're taking this dark money from a billionaire-backed group, you are laying your chips down on the side of basically we're going to keep doing the same thing we did in the past. And let me
Fair enough, but let's be honest. If someone, I don't know the Zoran guy so well, right? And other people are a little bit weird, like Bernie's a little weird, or AOC had some weird aspects to some of her policy decisions. But if there was someone that was truly legit within the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party would say, fuck it, we'll lose the Republicans in order to stop them from rising up. That is clear as day. That is clear as day. By the way, you see on the other side, don't you? Why is Donald Trump focusing on Thomas fucking Massey? If they think anyone's legit, either party, they will try to shut them down and risk losing over it. You don't think Trump hurt his own image by going after Thomas Massey so hard? Because apparently people love that guy. Not just in Kentucky, but around the fucking country. Maybe even in the world, people like this guy. So they would sacrifice themselves to take someone else out that they think means well. Straight up. It's pretty obvious. Go ahead, Dubster.
If Trump is successful in getting Massey out, he would lose votes across the country, like for the next presidential term.
Yeah, whoever gets endorsed by Trump will be looked at sideways. Yeah, for sure.
Right, because you might have enough in Kentucky, but the rest of the Republicans are looking at what he's doing to Thomas Massey is like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is
a little late,
Rand
but
Paul.
yeah.
This is Ron Paul. This is Mike Lee in our heads. Mike Lee's now corrupt, so we don't even look at Mike Lee like that anymore.
Yeah, Mike Lee was. I could have told you that a while ago, but whatever.
I know, but initially he was good.
I've seen some of the policies he did that were.
He kept talking. Yeah.
Oh, he turned heel. This really feels like WWE.
Yeah. He turned heel. He turned heel real quick into being in office.
I mean, well, I remember him and Bernie kind of co-sponsoring a bill to end our military aid to Saudi Arabia while they're genociding Yemen. I remember that. I remember for stuff like that, but nothing else that stood out to me as like, oh my god, this guy's not like Thomas Massey, right? Thomas Massey stands out, even though he's a little bit late on these things, and he kind of rode the Trump train a bit, just like Rand Paul did. Maybe Rand Paul's still doing that for all I know, but they look quote unquote better than the rest of the party. And let's be real, if you're actually legit, they will target you and get you the fuck out of there while sacrificing their own party. That is the idea. I want that to like embed it, like really look at that idea, really consider it. Don't have to say I'm right, but consider the idea I'm saying there. If the Democratic Party had fucking Jesus running in their fucking party, where it's like guaranteed win. He's too good of a person. He'll win. But they will do everything, cheat, lie, steal, everything to subvert that guy from winning. At the risk of their own seats, they would do that. I kid you not. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've seen throughout my time looking at politics. So, once again, Krystal, Krystal or Saagar, I don't think this is a problem of like, they're just too dumb or their strategy sucks. I think it's actually corruption. It's actually full shitness. And same goes with the other party, as I said. But all right, here we go.
Tell you something. If you consider yourself left of center in any way, you are not going to win a contest of who has more billionaires and for which party is more comfortable for those billionaires. You have to play a different game. And that's why I think that this is
Be morally
really
better.
important and very symbolic
Really.
of the fights that are going on, the struggles that are going on within the Democratic Party. And of course, Gaza ties in as well, because that's an area where you have a lot of organized money on the side of we're going to be with Israel no matter what. And so it's not the case that none of these influencers in this cohort have said anything about Gaza. It's not been a complete prohibition. But if you look at their body of work, there has been notably less focus on Gaza than among people who are, much more independent, who really are out there, saying what they think about what's going on in the world right now. So let me go ahead and play for you guys, Brian, a couple of the responses here. Let me go ahead and start with a portion of Brian Tyler Cohen's response, which I also have to say,
I reacted to this. Yeah.
I found these responses to honestly be kind of shocking in how dishonest they were, how frankly Trumpian they were in their character. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Brian Tyler Cohen, who again is one of the co-founders, of course. So he is actually at the head of this thing.
So here's what Chorus is. It is a scholarship program to teach creators how to grow their accounts, foster engagement, launch their own shows, and become profitable on their own. It's an incubator program to build the pro-democracy ecosystem. Influencers and creators have never been more important when it comes to how Americans are consuming their news. The right has been doing this for years, and the left needs to catch up. That's why we're doing this with Chorus. So let's talk about what Chorus is and what it's not. Chorus does not pay creators for content, does not tell them what to say, it does not control who they talk to or work with, and there is absolutely nothing in the contract that could even be reasonably interpreted to say that we do, period.
I want to put forward the name Dubster. Dubster, are you willing to get $8,000 a month to make content for this Chorus group? They're open to ideas. They'll hear you out. So they're open to anyone's ideas. No one has to believe the same thing. So please go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't believe that. Pretty sure another leftist just fucking blew that fucking shit out the water. And can I talk about how awesome it is to be a Republican? And I feel shitty that my leadership is fucking betraying me.
Actually, if you say that, they might bring you along, but cut off the part where you support republicanism in any form or fashion. But if you're criticizing Trump, you might make it, dude. I might have gave them an idea. Do not steal this, Brian Tyler Cohen. Do not do this.
Hold on, that's my end. And then I fucking go full on ham.
What about Democrats or something?
Get that money.
Have you guys heard about Arkansas?
Oh my god. Clinton body count. They'd ban you first before YouTube did. They'd ban you instantly somehow. They'd pull a lever and you'd fall down a fucking trap hole somewhere, bro. You'd be done.
I'm
No
sure would bring
fucking
down
chance.
Chorus single-handedly.
I know. You fucking would. Oh fuck. All right, here. Well, the point was that, and I said this in this video reaction to this guy, where I'm like, yo, there's no way they're letting someone that maybe started out as a Democrat honestly switch over to Republican and keep paying them. There's no fucking chance that would happen. They'd drop you immediately. Don't lie to me, guy.
But they're for democracy.
Yeah.
You just said that.
Yeah, bullshit.
Oh, yeah,
not
that right there
paying
is a lie.
We're not paying you. We're teaching you how to make money by paying you.
Yeah. There we go.
Full stop. I don't know a single creator who would willfully sign up for a program that would tell them what they can or can't say. That's not what this program is. We pay people to show up to workshops and technical
you just
training
said it.
to optimize their content online. For
Pause.
example, we've got
You
trainings
just
on
said
how
we
to
are
package
paying
content
you.
for
He did
Yeah.
say it. We are paying them.
Yeah. Well,
20 seconds earlier, he said that they weren't paying them.
no,
We're
it's
teaching them how to make money.
It's a scholarship program. Okay, it's like you're paying them to go to school. As the idea of it, which is no one believes, right? No one believes that shit. But all right, here we go. Once again, I reacted to this already.
YouTube, trainings on how to optimize audience retention for Instagram and TikTok, trainings on how to form an LLC. There's the implication in the article that this is some arm of the DNC or the Democratic Party. We have literally nothing to do with the DNC. I spend 0 minutes of my day thinking about the DNC. The creators do
not
not
provable.
toe any party line. How could we? There isn't a party line. Creators are
fuck you, Mike.
absolutely allowed to speak out against the Democrats, and in fact, plenty do. And frankly, chorus creators should and do criticize Democrats when they suck. And quite often, they do suck. 1630 Fund is our fiscal sponsor. One of the largest documented donors to 1630 Fund is the same person funding Meteor's Reporters in Residence program, which Taylor Lorenz herself is a part of. And guess what her monthly stipend is? $8,000 per month. So she's criticizing an entity that is funded by someone that she is currently taking money from. I guess it's okay when Taylor Lorenz gets paid, but no one else. There are people like Taylor Lorenz who are desperate to tear the left apart, and in fact, it becomes clear who her efforts help when you hear stuff like this.
Genuinely, I kind of like Taylor Lorenz
Tear
because I
them
know that she
apart?
actually believes what she says. Do you get what I'm
He's a
saying?
liar, Jessica.
So yeah, I generally don't align myself
2
with
seconds of the
friends of
video.
Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens.
Calling Taylor Lorenz a friend of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens is wild. Wild. And he opens up this thing. It was kind of long, so we clipped it up and didn't play the whole thing. We wanted to give you the pieces where he's doing his best defense, whatever, to be fair to him. But he opens up the whole thing.
Is that guy
by
like a
being
PR fixer?
at the risk of giving more
He's a
attention
content
to an
creator.
internet troll.
He's a co-founder, volunteer, or whatever the fuck at this chorus group, but he's also like kind of a bigger name content creator, although his shit is, let's be real, it's fucking oatmeal with no sugar in it, bro. It's bland, boring ass shit. Mucky, boring, bland garbage. Talking about, oh look, have you guys seen today? Trump has a limp. Look, he's limping, see? Like, isn't there a thing happening in Gaza over there? Why aren't you covering that? No, but Trump, he's limping. Look at it. He might be really bad. He might die. Like, that's your fucking content. You were trash. Quit your job. The same I said during the video where I reacted to that guy. Quit your fucking job. Give your money to the homeless. Leave. Go do something else. Anyways, here we go.
You can say
I
a lot
beg
of
you
things
to.
about
I
Taylor
beg you
Didn't
to.
we
Lorenz.
hear?
But this is a fully reported.
Didn't we hear that the Cohen guy was hanging out with Kamala Harris during the State of the Union address that Biden did?
Yes, and they told him to keep the Gaza stuff down because it's too controversial. But I'm sure they said something much worse during it. That didn't make it on record, but yeah. All right.
The one where he was saying white supremacy is the biggest threat in the country, that State of the Union from Biden?
Whatever. I didn't watch that State of the Union, I'll be honest. So I don't know.
Well,
Controversial about genocide.
It's that the Democratic Party was help facilitating it. The Biden administration was help facilitating it. That's the controversial part. And if Harris is your next candidate to replace Biden, yeah, it's definitely controversy for them. Granted, luckily, the mainstream news doesn't cover shit like that. And content creators, a lot of them were like, well, just Biden's better, or Harris is better. And
we got
the
a
other
D by
side
their
was,
name.
yeah, and the other side was like, well, Trump's better. You get fucked either pick you had. People in Gaza, you're fucked no matter who won the presidency. I want people to realize
Right.
that. They're fucked no matter what. That's a guarantee, basically.
That's why listening to Krystal's, it's like the hope she gives in the electoral process. It makes me think of like Santa Claus or like world wrestling. Like it's just it's so staged, and you just described a few minutes ago about how before Trump it was Biden, for Biden it was like the whole sequence of this. Like if you're really ever voting for a change into something positive, we're changing all the time, but we're not going in any like positive direction. We're just getting each president doing something worse, and so the next party can come in and rescue us from that worse and do something worse.
Yep.
Like this becomes so predictable. We haven't had, other than like the president getting reelected, like that for the second term. We haven't even kept up the same party since when Reagan with Bush Senior. Like it just kept switching. Like we don't keep electing the same because they're bad. Both of them are bad.
But we get tricked
That
every so
doesn't make
often.
a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get tricked every so often thinking like, oh my god, a new Superman has showed up to save us. Meanwhile, like no one's doing a checklist of, are you actually Superman? Let's go through the fucking checklist. How come he's not answering questions like this? Or she's not answering questions like that? How come that's not happening? And no one's asking those fucking questions at all. Not to themselves personally, and not like if they're content creators like that have access to it. No one's asking the fucking questions to find out, are these motherfuckers legit? Like seriously. Like, hey, are you lying to me? It's not a hard question to ask. Like, how am I gonna be like assured that you're gonna follow in this direction that you're using during this with your rhetoric on the campaign trail? How do I trust you? Is there anything bad you did in your past that you might want to explain for right now to showcase that, oh, you've learned your lesson. You won't do bad shit anymore. Or like, you know, quote unquote, obviously bad shit anymore. But the standards are, if you ask questions like that, like, hey man, you're off topic, that's not the point. What are we doing here? Meanwhile, it's like, it demands that. The situation demands those questions. Literally. It literally demands it. But instead they're like, well, hey, do you support the war in Iran? Oh, do you support war with Iran? No. There's your answer from Donald Trump. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Great answer. Anyone can speak fucking words out loud. Come on. Why are we so stupid about this? Make it a guarantee.
Right, I gotta go to bed. Y'all have a good night.
All right, dude. Make it a fucking guarantee, dude. Seriously. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing then? We're just circle jerking at that point. But I'll let the video play. Here we go. Sorry, guys, for ranting again. Forgive me. I just get my feels, you know. Here we go.
Didn't play the whole thing. I wanted to give you the pieces where he's doing his best defense, whatever, to be fair to him. But he opens up the whole thing by being like, at the risk of giving more attention to an internet troll. You can say a lot of things about Taylor Lorenz, but this is a fully reported piece in Wired magazine. He also spends a lot of time doing like, well, this person online said this thing about it, which is totally untrue. And it's like, okay, but you don't actually deal with the very specific claims that she makes in her report about
Pakman
the requirement of non-disclosure, about the fact that they're required, contractually required to run all of the guests that they book, all of the government official guests that they booked through you guys in this like approved channel that you have to go to daily messaging meetings. You don't deal with any of that. Instead, you shift the focus to these internet claims that were untrue rather than the actual reported out pieces. I want to deal with the piece that he says here about Pierre Omidyar, which I think is important. And I think it would be fair to question whether Taylor should be taking money from Pierre Omidyar. He has this reporter in residence training. But here's what's different. She was public about that, and we know who's funding her, and it's on the website, and she announced it. That is very different than a program that you're not allowed to say you're part of, and you're not allowed to disclose the funders, and you're supposed to keep it secret. And by the way, we still don't know who all is funding the 1630 fund. So I think it's fair. There could be criticism of Taylor there too. But to posture like these are the exact same things, that is just fundamentally dishonest. And he's smart enough to know that.
Well, look, people have, there's a...
No, he fucking, it's lying, which means he's a dummy, Krystal. Sorry. Here we go.
4-year track record here of criticizing Taylor. I read the story. I don't take her word for it. I read the story. I make sure that it's sourced, and then I see the response. It seems to hold up. Like, I think that's really what it's all about. So this isn't about Taylor Lorenz. I'm no great big fan or any of that over here. I do think it was really dishonest to be like, well, Candace says, that Candace and Tucker say that Taylor believes what I actually agree with that is one thing. I mean, I don't like most of what Taylor believes, but I do think she actually believes
She genuinely believes it, yeah.
We can talk about that. It's kind of a different story. But the question here, and I think people are like, oh, is this ponderous? Why are we spending so much time? A lot of you guys are watching this stuff on the internet, and not enough people talk about the behind the scenes. So what you just talked about with MSNBC, talked a lot about here, our experience at the Hill, multiple phone calls, problems with coverage because it could affect advertising. And it's not, again, it's not in the stuff that people would think. Like people would think it's Gaza or sometimes, if it's controversy. It's really about business. And like that's the stuff that people don't get, criticizing or creating problems for potential events with Bank of America or Pharma or TikTok, Chinese advertising, where the actual dollars hit the bank. We were speculating with our staff, like, what's the stuff that we cover that would be a problem? I'll give you a perfect example. Gambling. The gambling stuff would be a real issue if you and I were advertising 100% focus. A serious problem, because back in 2021, wouldn't have thought much about it. Maybe, DraftKings, FanDuel, they're offering goobles of money, right? Or Polymarket, like some people out there. By the way, Polymarket is now getting into sports betting, as you covered, I think, previously. Robinhood, any of this, so financial services, credit cards. How much do I talk about usurious credit card rates and stuff like that on the show? That's not happening if you're taking American Express. American Express is a blue chip, brand, great brand. Who has anything bad to say about it? I do. Well, that would be an issue. I could go on forever, man. Like in terms of DTC that we talked about, all of these DTC companies, BetterHelp, I gave that one. How could you be against therapy? James Lee, who does segments for us, did a segment about BetterHelp. That's not happening if you have a $1.5 million a year contract with BetterHelp. But you probably sign up for it and you think, it's therapy. What's so bad about it? Well, maybe something. There's so many of the examples. Like, yes, Casper mattresses and all that stuff probably wouldn't be an issue, but you never know. And that's why we don't do it. And have left, and I'm not exaggerating, millions of dollars on the table, and have created instead an alternative funding structure, which enables us to just do what we want to do. But not enough people have thought about that. And I do.
Fair enough. And let's be honest, you guys have the internet. Like, I don't know. If viewers need, screen crawls and good texting and texts and graphics and a desk and a suit and a tie, if they need that, we got bigger fucking problems, guys. Bigger fucking problems. Yeah, there's one thing where it's like, hey, your video's distorted. We can't see what's going on. Okay, that's one thing. Or your microphone's fucked up. We can't hear what you're saying. That's one thing. But the demand for certain aesthetics, that's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy to me. That's a problem with the fan base, right?
Broadly, I do think that the reason why these people can't escape criticism is not disclosing who you're getting paid for, is scum of the earth behavior when you are doing public media consumption for other people, because they have to know. One of the things, again, in the mainstream media in them is in ways they're more transparent who they take their money from.
Yeah.
They're public companies. They publish their financials. I know exactly who CNN gets this money from, and also they'll tell you during the ad breaks. Presented to you by Pfizer.
Yeah,
presented to you by American Express or any of these other people. And that has all kinds of pernicious downstream effects in a Noam Chomsky sense. But it's very different than actually getting a direct check wired to you by your bank account. Mainstream media people are just W-2 employees. They get cut a check, which, they don't really know how all the sauce gets made.
Yeah.
So that's why this is honestly kind of worse.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And it is also, so like you can think about, first of all, we need to come up with an agreed upon definition of who gets to call themselves independent media.
Smart.
Because if you're taking dark money from a party aligned super PAC, sorry, you're not independent media. I mean, you're just like, you can call yourself something else, but it ain't that. The next
Shots
level,
fired.
so that's like kind of like the worst level, is you're taking secret party aligned money from billionaires. That, and and you're contractually obligated to not disclose that. That is the worst level of potential compromise, and puts you the furthest from truly being able to call yourself independent media.
Are you doing the video?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a car question. That's okay.
I'll let it ring. Fuck it. Or well, unless it's too personal.
No, it's just more of a general question. I'm an idiot, and I think my warranty ran out to get this like light LED thing fixed on the left side of my passenger.
Left side of your passenger.
Yeah, it's like not the headlight, but like the little LED strip.
Okay. Your blinkers?
No, it's like the like it's an LED strip. Like, I guess, I don't know. It's just like the thing that glows.
That glows? Is it on the back of your car or the front of your car?
The front side, passenger.
I'm not sure what that is. Honestly.
It's called the LED strip. It's a Honda Accord 2016.
Okay. Well, I'll be
Uh,
honest. I'm a dumb fuck right now because I have no idea what the fuck. I know headlights. I know blinkers. I know like your reverse lights and your brake lights in the back and your
mhm.
blinkers in the back. LED
Well,
strips. I have no idea what the fuck that is.
yeah, it's like right below the headlight. Like it's part of the headlight, but it's like I don't know if they do it during manufacturing or after, but it was supposed to be covered under warranty, but I think I let that shit run out and my brother's been harassing me to do it all month. And I just, yeah, like, so I was just going to ask you how much that stuff usually costs or like how to even look for it. But
Okay. After
yeah,
this
they
video,
don't
I'll
talk.
look into it.
Okay, that's fine. Do your thing.
All right. All right, guys, let's get back into it. Here we go.
Next here is like, okay, it's funding from these various corporate entities, but it's disclosed. You're doing the ad read, right? It's upfront. You know, that's another level. You're getting sponsorships from this company or that company,
Maybe
and
YouTube
you're
might have an
disclosing
answer,
it.
actually.
You know,
Funny.
I don't take any
Well,
of these
actually, that's
decisions
a,
like lightly because
explains
we're
it.
really fortunate. We were
I
able
know
to
they'll
build
leave it
a
in the
business.
comments.
You
Hey
know,
guys,
you guys signed
can
up
you leave
right
that in the
away.
comments?
We're able to fund it really quickly. You know,
idiots!
we
Here's
were
what it is.
Wait,
stepped into the breach, and you
real
guys
quick.
were there
So
for
she
us.
is
And I know.
addressing the thing, the influencers thing.
Yes. And
Hmm.
very.
We talked
Yeah,
we
got
talked about that in my class today, by the way. It's interesting. But but what is she what's the deal? Is Kyle covering it too?
I have not seen Kyle, which is disappointing. But these two are going into full detail and why they think it's
Okay.
wrong and fucked up.
Okay, that's good.
All right, here we go.
Know that that's not going to be the case forever because Saagar and I were already established at the Hill, and we had the benefit of establishing ourselves at the Hill when somebody else was paying the overhead before we went out on our own. So I don't really I don't judge people who are making somewhat different choices than what we are making, but I think like transparency has to be at the core of what you're doing at the very least. If you're not in a position to say, listen, we're not going to talk to any advertisers at all, which is the position that we have taken to keep from having to ask ourselves questions about, well, what about this sponsor versus that sponsor? Is this ethical? Whatever. Is somebody going to think that we're not covering the story because we're taking money from this place? We've just decided we're putting all of that off the table. If you aren't in the position to make that choice, I have some sympathy for that. It's just you have to be transparent. And if you're not, you cannot call yourself independent media. Like, I hope that we can all agree that that's the case. And that's if you're on the left, if you're on the right. And maybe it's unfair.
Yo, chorus, yeah. I mean, I'll disclose everything. I'll say it all up front. But if you want to give me $8K a month, I'll fucking do it. Yeah. I will disclose everything now. But if you want to give me $8K a month, I mean, come on, son. It doesn't mean I won't shit on your entire program and the entire Democratic Party. All it means is I'll just take your fucking money. That's all that means. And it's me once again, I'm being upfront about it. I will shit on you. I will shit on the Democratic Party. I'll shit on Republicans. Whatever. I'll tell everyone I'm taking money from you. But if you want to just pay me, just cause, you know, I'm not opposed to that. And that goes for any company, by the way. Pepsi, you want to sponsor this channel? As long as I get to say whatever the fuck I want about you, and I can tell everyone I'm getting paid by you, beautiful. Like, welcome to our sponsor, Pepsi, where they destroy water in the Amazon, destroying human life as it's known in drinking water for masses of people. Get your Pepsi now. Cha-ching. You want to pay me, bro? Please. I dare you to. I dare you to. Here we go.
Fair, but I do think that the left should hold themselves to a higher standard because
no, Krystal.
we are supposed to be the people who oppose billionaire influence, who want campaign finance reform, who want to represent public interest and not have all of this nefarious dark money that is controlling so much of our politics. So yes, that
Krystal, that's supposed to be about morality. Maybe not the efficiency aspect argument of it, but like taking dark money that you're being influenced by, that sounds, as you called it, nefarious, which means you're putting it in a moral, conversation right there, which means that's not about left or right at that point, right? That's about, in your mind at least, right and wrong, which holds no political affiliation, as the story and other stories expose, right? one of the main themes you keep hearing is that, oh, well, the Republicans are doing it too. Does that make it good now? Like, no. It's wrong no matter what. If your kid did that, Krystal, you'd be like, bad boy or bad girl, right? I don't even know if she has kids or not. Whatever. The point is, it's wrong. That's why you don't like it. It's not about, oh, this is not the way the left should be. I mean, traditionally, this is kind of how they behave. But forget about that. Well, not the left. I'll say that's the politicians that call themselves on the left. I mean, actual people on the left, nah, it's a little bit different. But it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be arguing, oh, a more capitalistic society versus a more socialistic society, or communistic society, or whatever the fuck, or more libertarian, or whatever the fuck. Those should be your actual arguments. Like, but people have to actually believe in that in the first place. If they don't believe in that, then there's no one's having a real honest discussion. You're getting no actual efficiency out of the efficiency arguments. Not getting anything out of it. If someone's full of shit when they're doing it, they're doing it because they get paid by this person. There's thus, purposely subverting conversations. So, yeah. Yo, all political motherfuckers, please, I beg you to, take your morals, showcase them, but keep them a little, if anyone breaks these rules, no matter what side of the spectrum they're on, it's wrong, right, guys? Agreed? There's no expectations of morality from a political side, right? That makes no sense. Maybe you like their arguments better for how do you pay for fucking roads, but they can't be blowing people up, right? That's crossing a moral boundary. So anyone that partakes in that is fucking wrong, right? Just saying. I just have to say that stuff sometimes. Here we go.
Is your obligation, if you're going to call yourself someone who is on the left, is to be more pure than the Tim Pools or whoever are taking the tenant media, whatever cash they can grab. Because frankly, that's more consistent with their idea. If you're Ben Shapiro, and you're a standard issue conservative, and you don't think there's anything wrong with billionaires and billionaire influence in politics and whatever, that is actually more consistent with your ideology. So I have scorn for those funding models as well. But I do think if you're going to hold yourself out as being on the left, you do have to meet a higher bar and a higher standard. And as I said before, you're not going to win playing the game of who can get more billionaire dollars. You're not going to win that. And you are certainly not going to win
they've
a
won all the
movement that
presidencies,
delivers for working class people if you are relying on billionaire funding to get there. Not going to happen. So that's why I think this is so
they've
important.
won every Democratic presidency.
There's at least one person in here who she's a TikToker. She has been critical on Gaza. She's been critical of Andrew Cuomo, of Cory Booker. So she's gone after Democrats, and she put together her response. She's a member of Chorus. She's in the Chorus cohort or incubator as well. She put together part of her response, and it was amusing to me because she put up parts of the contract that she claimed were debunking what Taylor was saying in the article, but actually just fully confirmed what Taylor had reported out. And then she does this thing that I found so incredibly gross. And there have been other instances of this in the defense of Chorus, where they're once again using identity politics to protect, to sort of rebut these claims of, potential corruption and being compromised by this dark money. So let me go ahead and play this B5. Let me go ahead and play a little bit of this.
E5. I want that to happen one day for me. Yo, roll H7. Roll it. I'm going to do that one day, but
I hope you get the laziest producer ever who just fucks it up every time.
Well, I'd leave it in there. I'd be like, it would be funny. Like, fuck, you're fucking it up again. But
Jamie, I need another Jamie.
But it's like, I made a video, and there was a girl doing maybe a valedictorian thing, or just her graduation speech, whatever. And she's like, free Palestine. And once again, that video had nothing to do with shitting on her at all. It's just to point out, yo, anyone can say free Palestine, meaning you could have a content creator that screams free Palestine all day and night all over their feed, right? And argue in their direction all the time over and over and over again. but also take secret money from random billionaires and then fuck you over later. Remember, Hillary was protesting the Vietnam fucking war. Remember that? Well, not that I was alive or anything, but like I've seen enough documentation about it. Either way, it's like anyone can say words out loud, right? Anyone can jump on a cause. But like you have to do the work to try to figure out, like, is this person for real or not? Like, are they truly legit? And guess what's an acceptable answer? I don't know. That's fair enough to say. You don't have to put all your faith behind someone or say, oh, they're the worst person ever. You can honestly say, like, well, I don't know. Maybe they're legit, maybe they're not. They haven't shown me that they're full-blown legit, that I will support this person. Or they haven't shown enough, I haven't seen enough to showcase that they're full of shit and they're a liar or a deceiver. So, once again, not saying this lady, this girl falls into this case, the one that Magic 8 Ball is about to bring up, but it's possible. It's possible, and anyone can say Free Palestine. Anyone can, especially in 2025. So, all right, here we go.
By this dark money. So let me go ahead and play this B5. Let me go ahead and play a little bit of this.
In the contract I signed, there is some language that says, hey, please, like, before you make a public statement about what course is, just check with us. The reason for that is that, as the article states, there's over 90 influencers in the program, many of whom have very small accounts and joined the program to get, like, mentorship and happen to be immigrants or trans in a red state, right? And, like, already happen to be kind of in extra danger right now. And so the goal with the, like, please check with us clause was to make sure that small creators who already...
No offense to this girl, but she screams like, oh my God, and like whatever. It's like, are you rich? I don't know why it screams rich girl to me. It's a rich person. Oh my God, you're like an immigrant? Oh my God. Would you like a taco? Like, what? What'd you fuck you say to me? I just expect that shit. If you've never seen the movie, please. If you've never seen the movie, please. If you've never seen the movie, please check it out.
No.
It questions morality of like, oh my God, sir. Oh, here's my leftovers. You need some food, right? He's like, I'm online to get into the restaurant. I'm not some homeless guy. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my. Like, it kind of like questions your little like gestures and things you do in real life. Although, like, that's a beautiful thing. If you think someone's down bad, you're trying to help them out. That's a beautiful thing.
Oh, for sure.
But
I've had someone in DC do that where like they were like, oh, you got some food, whatever. And I had a little bit of pizza and I gave it to him. He's like, man, this shit's cold. I'm like, look, he's bougie ass. Excuse me. Let me take that back. I did. I literally just looked at him and walked away.
Yo, bro, can I hold $1? All right, man, here you go. You got 2 more?
That's it?
You got 2 more?
Right.
Yo, why are they in quarters, though?
Why
are they in quarters, though? Where's my paper dollar? That's all I got in my fucking pockets, bro.
Get out of my pockets.
All right. Here we go.
And happen to be immigrants or trans in a red state, right? And like already happen to be kind of in extra danger right now. And so the goal with the like, please check with us clause was to make sure that small creators who already had targets on their back weren't accidentally like featured on a huge page and then suddenly have an onslaught of threats from the right. Course has never been kept some nefarious secret, right? People have been talking about it. It was more just, hey, this is already an unsafe job for some people. Check with us in advance so you don't accidentally like add to someone's unsafety.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and also she sounds... I don't know who that lady is. She sounds absolutely clueless. No clue about...
What's the argument she's making? I don't understand.
I don't know exactly.
Oh, okay.
I was pretty confused by what the girl was saying, honestly.
I was like, wait, what is this about? Okay.
Her discussing the contract.
They have to notify if they're going to talk about certain topics.
For protection.
The text behind her said something else, but
yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
For protection.
To notify like the Brian Tyler Cohen.
Oh, I don't know who, but yeah, and behind her, the text was saying that they'd get kicked out if they mention that they're part of the group. So they meaning kicked out, meaning they would stop getting paid.
So it's like Fight Club, like is this like...
No, it's for,
they get paid. They get money, and so they would stop getting money.
Okay.
No, Jesse. Right wingers would find out and then harass them. So it's for protection.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, you little princess, you know nothing about the world, do you?
I mean, it's an incubator, but they're pitching this like right now to as if they're just kind of like giving you how tos to be a content creator, even though they have these weird clauses.
Yeah, it's a
But they're
workshop.
probably boosting them, right? Like if you think about it, if they're talking the type of topics they want.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of human shields that get $250 a month, aka to speak, positively probably of the product, and also go follow and support those same people, right? So they get paid peanuts in order to essentially boost and, let's be real, essentially be the people that get shit on the most if someone goes after someone, right? Like a horde of like commenters show up. I'm sure those guys will be in the comments like, leave him alone. They just get shit on.
Yeah.
Right. Here we go.
Okay, she's literally saying that they are keeping their dark money funding secret in order to protect trans creators in red states. That is her argument. That makes zero sense, okay?
Trans creators
Now,
in red
maybe
states.
it would make sense to say, hey, don't talk about the other people who are in the cohort, but for you yourself, like, how is it protecting a trans creator or an immigrant in a red state for you to not talk about your dark money funding? I'm having serious
still
Hillary
speaking
2016
Yeah.
identity
That's why it's
politics
great.
weaponized against the left flashbacks with all of this. There were other allegations that Taylor was like anti-black woman for publishing this when they're all, I mean,
What?
I'm sure there are black women.
Taylor
in color.
Lorenz?
This lady appears to be white. Like there's all kinds of people.
This
It's
is
just
not true.
it
Like,
reminded
not true.
me
I-
of why.
That's not true. I've started reading her shit since like when she was working at Washington Post years ago. It's not like she's very quote unquote woke, as they call her. So I don't. But how's it anti-black women? Let me stop asking.
They're looking for anything, probably. So
Okay. But no, but like, how do you justify that? Who was even black that they were paying? I just saw a bunch of white, like, lesbians and stuff.
I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it is fun, like the idea of like an immigrant or a trans person in a red state. They're trying to protect them. Like, well, then how the fuck are they doing content creation?
Exactly. Like, then they should get off the camera immediately. And like, what?
Are they all in like
that's the last thing
silhouette
you want.
using voice changers or something? Like,
Yeah.
like what the fuck?
No, like that's like, so for example, like even at UMD, we don't put where the offices are for like the office hours for on the syllabus because of ICE, because there's a lot of immigrants and stuff that work there, so there's no need to do that. Like the students will know because you'll tell them.
Yeah.
And it's not required. So like there's like things like that you do, but like not, I don't know.
Try to get 2 million followers or something on TikTok.
Yeah, like why would you be in front of the camera like, oh, I'm doing this? I don't know. Anyway.
All right, here we go.
Ugh,
He became such a vociferous critic of this type of identity politics because you see the way it is being weaponized here. When you genuinely have these communities that are under threat and they're cynically using this to protect their dark money funding source. That is disgusting. And one more thing I'll say about these responses is, again, if you are on the left, look, I get that there are, I think the best case you can make for them is basically like, look, the right is doing this and we got to throw on we're dealing with fascism, we got to throw out the playbook, and I get it's not ideal, but we got to fight against fascism in whatever way we can, and so that's why we're taking the money.
Is Krystal on the left?
None of them even really acknowledge that there's an ethical question here. And that to me is a real red. How can you call yourself on the left and you're not even contemplating the ethical dilemmas that are involved here and explaining, well, I get why it's a problem and maybe in another time, but here's why I came down on the side. No, it just was like all out attacking Taylor Lorenz's credibility, throwing up, she's friends with Candace Owens, this very aggressive response of there's nothing wrong, we celebrate what we're doing, we did nothing wrong, there was no moral or ethical dilemma here, we do it again 10 times over. And I find that to be a real red flag that there
Krystal, how are you surprised by it? It's 2025. You've been on planet Earth long enough. You've seen different, levels of whatever, of being a news person, and you met all these different types of people, politically, maybe non-political, whatever. How are you not aware that political sides don't fucking dictate whether you're a good person or not? Isn't that obvious to you? Duh. Now maybe she's just saying that to kind of set the frame for what she's trying to like overall say. But it's like, come on, like, why even go there? In fact, I would be like, hey, this is another instance where it's not about left or right, ladies and gentlemen. As far as the problems we're having right now in the world of politics, the problems we're having, it's not a left or right problem. It's a morality problem. Blatantly. Amongst, well, morality, and I would say psychology, right? People get brainwashed and follow, they get tricked easily by politicians or influencers and they just follow everything they fucking say. Like, that's another problem too. But at the core of all it is morality. That's obvious. So I don't know if she's just trying to like frame things or put paint a picture so that people realize where she's coming from, or if she's that just fucking dumb about it. I don't know. I would hope she knows better. Like, left and right was never the decider of morality. All right, I already ranted about this. Here we go. Let's keep playing.
Wasn't even a willingness to grapple with the clear, like, ethical issues that are involved in taking this type of secret dark money.
Totally. And I know you're looking at it for the left thing, but I actually think this is much bigger than you may even realize, because this is all industry for all quote unquote independent. If you look in the world of sports, gambling runs sports. I listened to a really interesting critique of sports journalism, which is actually very similar to where we are right now. It's not only that gambling sponsors all of the podcasts, it's also that the people who succeed and the most famous sports journalists are basically people who tweet whether someone has signed a contract or not, and they just get the first scoop. In terms of people who actually uncover information that makes people in power like very uncomfortable, they are very few and far between.
Yeah.
What is basically being consolidated is that industry and like money and influence is running the general ecosystem to make sure that things are positive in almost all cultural areas, from sports to, I mean, here's politics. That's number one. Finance is another one, by the way. Like, some of the biggest finance podcasts, All In is literally one of the biggest finance podcasts. I mean, think about that. What the Chamath has conflicts of interest coming out of his eyeballs. Like, it's like every single one of these plays is ridiculous. Or,
I mean, sure, there's probably science behind money, because a lot of these guys are fucking robotic. They think robotically, they behave robotically. And yes, money is one of those things. In that it's counting money and like my bank account and who do I pay my tax guy. Right? And why is this good? Well, it made money. Right? Versus like actual deep thinking about like what is actually quality. What's good. Right? And that's the core of it. I don't think necessarily it's money, although that is a factor in regards to all this, socially at least. But the true core of it, it's a care for care. You will, like, this guy tried at this, and this is this guy's expression when it comes to things like outside of politics. I'm saying like artwork and like sports and art and music and movies and TV. Like, there's no trying to recognize if someone even cares what the fucking thing they're putting out. But like, and I think it's kind of evident based on what you see earlier. Yeah, maybe Disney or Warner Brothers is, paying writers cheap money, cheap labor writers, relatively speaking, to just pump out a script and make it into a movie. Just add these characters in and save the end. Boom, movie done. I get why they're doing that, right? And yes, money's involved in that, obviously, right? They want to save money, so they hire cheap writers. Maybe a whole staff of cheap writers to equal like one, Jonathan Nolan or some savage fucking writer, right? But then what's the audience excuses? What's their excuse for the audience? What is their excuse? They don't have one. That's their leisure time. That's when money disappears. You're not working a job, right? You go to the movies, or you kick back and watch a movie or listen to a song or something like that. Whatever. Your relaxed time. You're supposed to forget about money in a way. How are they falling for it? How does that happen? And it's almost like, damn, did someone just bleeding their heart out creating something, did that ever even mean anything in the first place? Did people take notice of that? Or were they just future memes like red pill and blue pill? And if you look in the world of politics, I mean, I think they were doing it first before, these other things started taking place. It's almost like they don't, almost like weird, creepy, robotic thinking people don't want, they want no surprises. They want a guaranteed product. This person will do this when they're in office, thus we give them money to do so. We want certain results guaranteed. Versus someone who takes chances on things, right? Like an artist, right? Like a creator, like an athlete. You take chances. But even that, they're trying to write out of the art form itself. They're trying to erase it to make it into some sort of, as like Anthony called it, sabermetrics, right? Or algorithmic, right? Algorithmic fucking writers for a screenplay. And the movies suck ass. They do, for the most. They suck ass, dude. They are poorly written. But, ROI, man. ROI. Not for you, for someone else. But let's continue. Here we go. It's like 5 minutes left. Here we go.
Bloomberg or any of these places. I mean, it was like, it says it in the name, Bloomberg. You think you're getting like completely unfettered CNBC. I think this is actually a funding model question for quote unquote independent media, where when they're rolled up basically into the ecosystem, I think they broadly become more corrupt than a lot of the mainstream media. And trying to make yourself like a separate part out of that is just very, very few and far between. The money is hard to say no to, all right? I mean, I laid it out for you, and that's just our show. Think about, even the biggest shows. I'm talking, that's probably tens of millions of dollars. And
so make your own blue methylene.
You got to have some real stomach to actually be able to do it, or bet on yourself in a different way and be true to some different values. So anyway, I think that's why it's important, because that's a view into how it works for everything. I really do think it's everything.
Yeah, and I just got to say, for the people who sold out for this shit for $250 a month, like, what are you doing with your life?
That's actually,
if you're not in the $8,000 a month cohort, I really don't. Like the $250 a month people, like, what is that?
Well, it wasn't Pat, correct me if I'm wrong. Patman was taking $8,000 a month. Is that true?
That's the assumption, because that's the highest band that you can be.
He's got like $2 million.
He makes millions.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, that's the thing is,
do some back of the map math on the YouTube revenue.
Right,
like,
and
what are we doing?
That's what I want people to understand too. Is like, we have left. There's no doubt we've left millions on the table by not doing ad read. There's no doubt about it. But guess what, guys? We're doing fine.
Yeah,
we are doing fine. Like, we are able to like have a good life. We pay our people
employees.
Well.
Yeah, exactly.
When they ask for a raise, we're like giving them more of that.
Yes.
We're doing, we're doing just fine over
Go
here.
hire YellBro.
Build this new set. All of that.
Yo, Magic 8 Ball.
It doesn't require
Let me add some
selling
soul
out
to your show.
some dark money super PAC to be able to make it. And again, look, I get it. Saagar and I were both established before. We had the Hill, all of that. So we did have some advantages. I don't want to deny that. But Kyle didn't, and he's doing good too, right? It's you don't have to take.
Kyle's not covering this
money.
story, so.
And if there is money, you have to disclose it.
Yo, Krystal, have a talk with Kyle. Tell him to do this do this story. He better be in the studio taking notes so he can do his own video on it. That's all I'm saying. Here we go.
That, but Kyle didn't, and he's doing good too, right? It's you don't have to take.
He's doing all right.
And if there is money, you have to disclose it. That's really, to me, the most key piece is. Saagar and I, as much as we've set our business up to insulate ourselves from any sort of corporate or political pressures, we still are human beings that are going to run into biases. Saagar is friends with JD Vance, right? I'm friends with Kyle, so I'm not going to be criticizing him. He's my husband, so I'm not going to be criticizing him as another creator who does something I disagree with. Like,
you heard that, right?
When
people know that.
Instances,
people know that.
We're upfront about it, and that's the thing. Is
friends with
look, we're all human beings. None of us are going to be able to exist in
Good
the
on you.
world
Good on you,
fully
Krystal.
and completely free of bias. But when you run into something that is a clear conflict of interest and clear
That's what JD
bias,
Vance.
or there is money that is being paid to you that could potentially.
I mean, yeah, Sugar, you gotta cover JD. Like, you gotta harshly cover him. You gotta bring on the Palantir people that know. You gotta do that shit, bro. The people that investigate Palantir and the whole technocracy backing JD Vance. You have to bring them on, bro. It's a must. Because guess what? Even though Crystal's talking about the money, it's not always about money. Sometimes maybe it's your friend or a family member or some shit like that where you got to speak out like, yo, what are you doing here, bro? What's going on? Sorry, bro, I'm running this story. I have to. You got to, if he's not questioning it, isn't that doing the same thing that Krystal and Saagar are complaining about? Just with no money, involved in it? So maybe he has. I haven't looked into it personally, but I'm not trying to accuse him of anything yet. But if he hasn't, or refuses to, yeah, that is a conflict of interest, as these guys might call it. I'd call it, like, wrong and lazy. But whatever. Let's keep it rolling.
Impact your views and your coverage, you have to disclose it. That to me is like the most central piece. And then, other decisions that are made around that, I think there are better and worse decisions that can be made there. But if you aren't being upfront about where your funding is coming from, I think that is a real mistake. And I think it's a real ethical red line.
100%. By the way, it's not just him. Anytime we cover somebody where I'll be like, look, full disclosure, met them for dinner. Friends, you know what I'm saying? You think I enjoy doing that? It's embarrassing sometimes, but you got to do it. I mean, because otherwise, how much worse would it look to do the coverage, to say something favorable, and then some photo or whatever comes out of the two of you? It looks horrible. So, that's what these people are in that position. So, anyway, you got to try and hold yourself up to an ethical standard. Right. That's why we spend a lot of time on it. Because again, I know a lot of people watch the show, consume a lot of stuff, on the internet, and I do think people should ask bigger questions. And this isn't just politics. It genuinely is all industries, and I'm seeing it get a lot
So true.
worse. I really think it has never been worse than, I don't think it's ever actually been worse, as bad as the mainstream media was, because they still have a lot of power.
They do only one side of
are the ones who are succeeding the most, which means that both sides of the spectrum of like what you're consuming is more than likely like bought, paid for, shaped, or whatever in some way, and that's the real.
We need you guys to be discerning consumers and know who you're, if you want to support independent media, truly support places that are actually independent media, because we're headed towards a worse cesspool than with mainstream media, and that was already a pretty low bar.
There you go. All right, let's get to Trump's help. Hey.
No, Sugar. No. I won't. You should make them, because they're doing like the, Republican, Democrat, right? And you have the break here, and he's red on this side, blue on this side, right? They need to maybe change these red. They actually color code the books towards like redness. Well, actually, no, it's interesting. Those are their favorite books. That'd be beautiful. That'd be some artsy fartsy stuff, right? Kind of the clash between them. And you have like maybe Krystal's favorite books and her style of likings, and then you have his style of likings and his favorite books back here. It's like things that he likes versus things she likes. I think they're actually doing that. But you know what?
And the colors are their sides.
Yeah. You can even reverse
it. Except they put it on the left. The right, they put it on the left.
Maybe if they switch topics to like Trump's health, the colors turn red. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're talking about Republicans now. Whatever. All right. Yeah, that's not a bad video. Obviously don't agree with everything, but not a bad video. Considering the lack of coverage by Kyle Kulinski. I'm sorry, I can't get away from it. What do you want me to do? I think he has to cover this story straight up to kind of separate himself. I mean, he doesn't have to, but it's like the idea is like, hey, Kyle, showcase to everyone like where you stand. So that the audience knows. Right, Kyle? Awesome. But all right, there's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree, disagree, tell me what you think. I ranted several times through this. You also have the points that Krystal and Saagar are saying. Sorry, I mean Magic 8 Ball and Sugar are saying. I'm not taking it back. It's funny for me. My inside joke to myself. And you know what? I think they'd laugh too. All right, so fuck off, weebs. Anyways, tell me in the comment section what you think. Do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. Please do it. Also, check out the Discord link if you want to join that and talk some shit with people. All of it is very much welcome. And obviously, more importantly than anything else in the entire universe, I mean, more important than anything, give this video a thumbs down.